Hey everyone, welcome to another Chicken Chat. I am Megan with MHYT, and today we are talking winter because winter, right? And we have Jess here with us. Hey Jess, how are you?
I'm good. It's winter.
Is winter. So, right now during recording, what is your temperature at home?
It was 17 degrees last time I checked.
Okay, so we're not quite that bad. We're at 22, but still,
Yeah,
we are in it, right?
yeah,
Yes,
absolutely,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about our flock and winter. So, first
Okay.
off, let's talk chickens. Tell me what inspired you to start raising birds.
Huh. Oh, that's a good one.
Wow.
Um, okay, let's see. So I was at a point in my life where I needed to get healthy, and I was looking for all these, which route should I go and getting all this advice. And somebody said to me, you don't need any plans. You need to eat farm fresh. And I was like, that's great. So we got involved with a CSA that was local. And that was my first experience with farm fresh eggs and fresh vegetables. And so we did that for about a year. And then I started going, we can do this. We can have our own chickens. We can grow our own garden. We saw the benefits of eating farm fresh. I completely reversed any health issues I was heading to. And that following spring, we got our first flock from Meyer Hatchery and we dug our first garden. And yeah, that is what inspired me to be healthy, was to get my chickens. And I've been a chicken lady ever since.
I love that. Okay, so that's how you started. Now, how has that evolved? Like, so after you got the chickens, you started the garden. How has that journey evolved?
It's been a lot of learning, and we've just evolved to becoming more efficient. So
Yeah,
we went through the we
always
went
learning.
yes, exactly. So we went through trying all the different breeds. I still kind of do that sometimes, but going through all the breeds, deciding what we really like, going through different types of coops. We've been a couple builds now under our belt. And we've decided that we really love tractors, so that's what we use. As far as my garden goes, I learned that I tried to do too much at once, so I went to square foot gardening,
Uh-huh.
which is it's more compact way of gardening in my raised beds, but I'm
Uh-huh.
getting double what I was getting when I had my big garden in the ground. So, yeah, we just evolved to be more efficient, and it's
Yeah.
going into my 8th year of all of this
Wow.
adventure. And this year is the first year I've really felt like, wow, we are so efficient and everything
Yeah,
is so organized and all that
feels
kind of
good.
good stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. So think back to your first winter of having your flock. Now, how has caring for your birds changed since your first winter?
Oh, it's changed a good amount. I'm in Northeast Ohio, so I'm in the snow belt. But we've
Mm.
also had really weird winters. Like in the past 8 years, we've had a year where we were in negative 20s, which was new to around here. We've had a winter where we had no snow. It was like spring one year. We've had years where the snow was up to my shoulders in the snowdrifts. So I've definitely had quite the learning experience with winter. I feel like now I've experienced all the different types.
Maybe.
But the first year, maybe, I don't know. It's Ohio. So we'll see. But my first year, I learned about water freezing very quickly and what type of watering system we wanted. And we ended up, luckily, we have a setup where I could get electricity. So we went to the heated waterers, which has been a lifesaver for us.
Yeah.
Um, and those heat plates that you can put your waterers on. Those
Oh,
have been really awesome because I could just use the waterers we use in the summertime. The chickens are used to those. I just put them on that plate and it works great. Let's see, what else have I learned? Just making sure that coop is predator proof.
yeah.
We had one year, unfortunately, where a mink got in. So we learned the minks show up in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So we had to learn the predator control.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're saying all these things, and these are all the questions that I have in my mind, and I'm loving
Yeah.
it that you're just already hitting it all. Okay, so
Nice.
let's start with flock care. I want to dig deep into flock
Okay.
care. So
Okay.
before we go deeper into the water and the predators, I want to
Yes.
know the absolute biggest challenge for you in your area with during winter with your flock. Biggest challenge. Start big.
Mm. I'm gonna have to say the temperatures and the
Yeah.
freezing. And
So
then
how
very
often?
shortly. Oh, go ahead.
No, how often is it like under freezing? Like I know in my area, it's just maybe a couple of days and then we're back good. Do you stay at a
Oh,
constant?
a couple months at
Yes.
least. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll start in around it again, every year has been different.
Yeah.
But typically we start getting those really cold temperatures. We'll have a little bit in the late November, December. And now that it's January, February, we're in our this is when it's really cold. This is when we're freezing pretty consistently. Like our no, our 2 week forecast, we're not getting above like 28 degrees and it's in the teens at night. So um
Wow.
it'll be like this until mid Marchish, and then we'll start to
Okay.
thaw.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, that's a pretty big challenge because
Yeah.
well, I just think of when it starts dipping, we
Yeah.
get everything together and get going, but you're at a constant freeze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I can see how your waters are such a big deal. So
Yeah.
having electricity there, that works. What did you do before electricity at your coop with the waters? So like people out there who don't have electricity, what was the best thing that you found?
What we did is we had 3 waterers and we would change them out multiple times a day. So pretty much like breakfast, lunch, dinner time is when we would switch them. And we would take one out, leave it out there for a couple hours, bring it into our garage, bring the next one out.
Ah,
So that one could thaw because sometimes there were some times that they froze that quickly. Um, and then we just had them on a rotation
okay.
with that. With the duck waterers, we did the same thing. The duck waterers don't freeze as quickly because they're playing in their water a lot.
Ah,
But with the chickens, having that rotation was really, really helpful.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I like that. Okay. So you've talked about prepping with the water.
Mhm.
Now, how do you prepare otherwise with your coop or your chicken housing? What do you do to prep for these freezing temps, solid freezing
Yeah.
temps?
We beyond the waterers, we just put extra feed in our coop. So we have the PVC pipes that we use for our feeders that we've
Okay.
shared on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I'll put an extra 1 or 2 of those in there. I really like them because it keeps the food contained, and because
Right.
it's winter, and we don't want to attract mice or anything like that,
Yeah.
so we put extra of that out. Um, in the past, I would put up like feed bags to help with the drafts and things like that.
Oh
This
yeah. Yeah.
year, if anybody's been following on YouTube, I went to my omelets. And the
Uh,
omelets have a winter cover on them, which is amazing. So I just put the big cover over them, and everybody has been nice and warm and happy. Um,
so are you
we
free ranging any during the winter?
Not very much, and it's not necessarily me, it's my birds. The chickens want nothing to do with the snow. So we have, in the summertime, my flock is in the yard. In the wintertime, we have a lean-to that is attached to the barn, and that's where everything gets kind of pushed into, for the wintertime, and we will let them out. The chickens will run to the edge of the lean-to, and then they look at the snow, and they're like, "Nope." And they turn around and go back. The ducks, they love the snow. So we will let them out for a while, let them play. They'll go on the ice on the pond, they'll eat the snow, they'll swim in the snow. But they also know, like, they'll play for a while and then they'll go,
Okay.
I know where the food and the warmth is, and they go back. So um, it's our birds just don't want to free range.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of predators too.
Yeah.
So we kind of supervise free range everybody, but yeah.
Okay, let's go there. Let's go to predators. Now, you said do you think you have more predators in the winter? You said your minks come during the winter. Do you think
Yeah.
it ups in the winter?
I think we definitely see more predators. We see a lot of predators, like in general, but during the winter, everything's cold, everything's
Yeah.
hungry.
You need food.
I mean, we've seen minks all year round, but for some reason, February, March is when they're really active.
Yep.
We'll start to see the tracks in the snow.
Mm.
We see a lot of coyote. We see possums, we see them, but they, for the most part, leave the coops alone. Raccoons, we've seen a ton of those the last couple of years. We've had hawks this year in
Yeah.
the winter, they've been really active this year. So we've had to use things like those blow up balls
Oh
that
yeah.
just, deter birds. We also use the night guard tape, and that helps keep those kind of birds away
Yeah.
from the coop area. Um, but yeah, we definitely see more. The other thing that we've seen a lot of, and we have to be careful of, I it's not really a predator, but kind of, is the wild birds because of the avian influenza. They
Oh
try
yeah.
to roost where it's warm,
Mhm.
and we've had to be really mindful of blocking off and making sure they're not roosting by the coops, and using the chicken
Yeah.
bathroom or the bird
Yeah.
bathroom by my chicken coops and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Or sweeping in and getting some food or some drop
Hmm.
scratch or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, that makes it that's gosh, that's something that I'll be honest with you, I haven't thought of, but yes, yeah, that's can be a big part of your biosecurity, thinking of those
Right.
other birds. Yeah, you
Right.
almost don't think of that as a predator, but that does switch into the, harming your birds. So
Yeah.
um going into avian influenza and just your bird health overall, what do you do anything extra for your birds, and if not, what do you do during the cold to make sure that your birds are healthy?
Um, well, with the avian influenza, we just make sure we continue our biosecurity all year
Throughout the
round.
year,
So we've
right?
got the foot bath for our boots. We're being very mindful of who's going in and out of where. Well, there isn't. It's just my husband and I. We're the only ones that go in and out of where the coops are. Um, so that's all year round. As far as during the winter,
Oh, my.
my birds will get extra protein, so we
Mm,
give them extra protein treats, and we just kind of really watch their health. Make sure they're getting the proper nutrition. Check those eggs, even though they've slowed down a bit because it's wintertime. Still always checking the eggshells, making sure everything looks good there.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
So,
it's just.
so, so I know you said the eggshell. So eggs,
Mhm.
I agree, are absolute wonderful tool to use to check on your birds. What
Yeah.
else can you do to check on your bird's health? Like, what else are you looking at, taking note of on your actual bird during the winter?
I'm looking for to see if they're active. I'm checking the combs. I'm making sure that I don't see any signs of frostbite. I have a lot of silkies and birds with feathered
Ah,
feet, which is amazing. But I also they love mud, and so they'll go play in the mud and then they'll freeze. So I'm really watching their feet a lot during the winter time to make sure they're not getting any like buildup or anything like that on those feathers. With the ducks, I'm watching to see if they're active. I'm keeping an eye on their eyes and their, just overall
yeah.
kind of
Overall,
behavior, checking those legs and feet.
yeah.
I've In the time that we've had the birds, I've only had two birds knock on wood, that have had problems with the winter, and
Okay.
I could tell, like I could see them. They were
Just
had their
knowing your birds.
comb.
Mm.
Hmm? Yeah.
Knowing your birds. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. The combs would get pale. We had a leghorn that just had such a hard time, and unfortunately didn't make it. And it was the comb, then the behavior. Then we kind of found her kind of like in the corner, for a couple days, and then,
Okay.
she unfortunately passed. But yeah.
So tell me about breeds. So what breeds have you noticed are better in the winter? What are some of those qualities? You mentioned the comb, you mentioned silkies. So
Mhm.
talk to me about good. First, let's say, what are the breeds that handle cold the best?
I have had really good luck with most of the breeds that we have here at Meyer Hatchery. I even have the Silkies, which, it could be tricky with them, but they could, at least mine could care less. They're like, what? I even went and got them that heat plate that we sell, and I put it up against the wall. I mean, I probably could use it more than they would. They just look at it like, what is this? But if you're live somewhere like where I live, where it's really cold, you want to look for breeds that have the smaller combs. So I tend to stick with, Orpingtons. I've got like Brahmas. I've got um, Easter eggers. I've got a lot.
Yeah.
Our Bantam Dorkings, even though that they have a little bit of bigger combs, they've been doing fantastic in the coop this winter. The Silkies are doing well. I just focus on breeds with the smaller combs. We've had Leghorns in the past.
Mhm.
We had that one, unfortunately didn't make it, but the other ones we had were fine. I just put comb balm on their combs
Yeah.
before it got really, really cold.
Yeah.
Um,
You have
but
a
yeah,
recipe for that I used last year, and it works really good.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, it's on our YouTube
Yeah.
channel. Yep. But yeah, just focus on those breeds that have the smaller combs, and they do really well. I also mix my flock a little bit, so I have a mix of Bantams and the standards. So I purposely have the light Brahma. We call her Brahma Mama.
Oh,
And I
cute.
purposely have like my chocolate Orpington because they're big
Warm.
and they cuddle. Chickens, I learned this the other day working on one of our YouTube videos. Chickens love to cuddle in the wintertime. And you see it, but it's actually like a thing that's known. They like to cuddle. So we kind of purposely have those big breeds
Yeah.
because they cuddle with the little breeds, and everybody helps to keep each other nice and warm and happy, and
I tell
they
you
do really
what,
well.
the resiliency of the birds just absolutely
Yes.
amazes me. Like you look out and your chickens are like almost twice the size, because
Mm-hmm.
they're fluffing up, they're getting their body warm. They have,
Yeah,
they're made to be outside and to do this.
exactly.
And they are so resilient. It amazes me sometimes. I'm so worried and I'm like, no, I'm fine. I was
Yeah,
worried.
they're
Yeah.
handling it better than I
Yeah.
am.
Oh my gosh, they are. They are. Okay, so you said that your birds are in the coop most of the time just
Right,
for, because they choose so. So
right.
tell me about some boredom busters. Is there some things that you put in your coop, snacks you make them? Tell me what you can do in the winter to help that coop boredom buster.
Yeah, absolutely. So we try to do a lot of more natural boredom busters. So before the weather gets really bad, we make a pile of logs and just like pine boughs and things like that. And we keep them inside the lean-to and we put them in there, and the chickens just love to play on them. A half rotting log is amazing. They just love it. They will tear it to shreds and pull the pieces off, and they will
Get
sit
in
on
it.
it, and they love it. I've even taken logs and I've used a hole saw, like a 1-inch hole saw, and made like little holes in the log, and then I'll pack it with peanut butter, and like some oats, and they go crazy for it.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that's really my flock. I found really likes natural things. I do have a chicken swing in there. We have one bird that really likes to use it. I have one of those balls that you put the treats in, and then it kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
they kick it around. Half the birds like it, the other half are terrified of it. So
Normal.
so I've
Wow.
tried that. So yeah, just natural things. As far as making treats, I will make coconut oil or bacon fat mixed with some oats and maybe whatever greens or some
Mhm.
blueberries I have around or what have you. And I'll make little blocks, so little flock blocks, and I put them in
Okay.
there. Um, Throw the scratch in when you put fresh bedding down. Throw a little scratch in there. They go crazy for that. That
Yeah.
keeps them busy for a while. I also found if I put my pine shavings just like in on a pile right inside the coop, they spread it for me. So, and they love it. Like it's something fun
Yeah.
for them. So this has been this year's like exciting
Work
activity, is just like,
smarter, not harder.
exactly. I'm like, here's your pile, and then I'll walk away, and like 20 minutes later, it's spread out evenly, and they had fun kicking it around. So
Your little chicken workers.
exactly. Hey, they gotta pay rent around here.
I know, right? Okay. So let's talk about paying the rent, I guess. Okay, let's talk about freeloaders because right now I have a lot of freeloaders. Let's talk about
Yeah.
egg production in the winter. So, what does your egg production look like?
It's definitely lower because it is winter time. This year I have some new layers, so they've actually kept going.
Yeah.
So I've had some eggs, and really, we need that longer day, so we're waiting
Mhm.
for more daylight. But I will start to see eggs here in February. Following the last couple of years, I'll start to see more. My ducks lay consistently no matter the
You
time of year.
do?
So I'm still getting duck eggs. Yeah.
Really?
And my quail. I have some Coturnix quail.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting because like the chickens have slowed down, but the ducks and the quail are still going like they don't know it's wintertime. And so we have consistent eggs,
Yeah.
and that goes with having
So
that mixed flock. It's nice to have.
this is me being the big chicken farmer that I am. So ducks don't stop during the winter.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Neither do quail.
Neither do the quail. Yep.
Stop. Look at me and my like. So right now we have 78 birds, and I am lucky to get 12 eggs a day. So
See,
see,
you need some
you-
Coturnix quail or
I
some
do.
ducks.
I do. I
Yep,
do. You know, I
yep,
think I would be able to do the quail before I could do the ducks.
yeah,
Which I guess because I'm in dry area and I always feel bad, but I can just take a pull up there. Okay, food for thought.
absolutely,
Look at that. Look at that. Okay.
absolutely.
Oh man. Okay, so what we do rely on the sun to for
Mhm.
chickens to lay eggs. What else do you do to increase egg production, or do you do anything with your flock, like with supplemental lighting? You talked a little bit more about protein.
Yeah.
Anything else for egg production that you implement?
We this year we didn't do the supplemental lighting. We have done it in the past. Part of like going back to like becoming more efficient every year was
Right.
adding that electricity. So we do have the option to put the light on. We just didn't this year. Honestly, time. Because
Yeah.
you have to start it,
Yes.
back in end of August, September. So we just kind of left, and we were like, you know what, everybody will just get a break this year.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
and supplemental lighting is a personal choice. You can
Yeah.
decide whether you want. Like I said, we've done both. But yeah, just keeping up with their feed and making sure they have the protein, and we kind of think of it as like a little present. If we get eggs in the wintertime, when we're not using that lighting,
Hooray!
then yay!
Yeah.
So it's all good.
So I really think what I feel like, I'm walking away. Maybe our listeners will walk away with this too. It's a constant change. So even
Yeah,
winter, you can be prepared, you can, but there's always going to be surprises. You're going to be constantly learning. I think that's one of the joys of, you know, having
right.
poultry of any sort is you're always learning, you're always
Yeah,
evolving, you're always, moving forward. So that's pretty cool. So
yeah.
that was kind of my little takeaway from your winter flock care. Now tell me, what is the best piece of advice you've received about raising birds in the winter? Here it goes. Dun, dun,
Um,
dun.
Probably chicken math. Remember that the birds that are super fun in the summertime, you have to take care of them when it's negative 10 degrees outside
Yep.
and 5 feet of snow.
Yeah.
Um, so that's my like that I somebody told me that, and that is my biggest piece of
Remember.
advice is
Yeah.
remember just you got to take care of them all year round
Oh,
and all everything that comes with each season. So,
yeah.
yep. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. Well, that's a good one. Okay. So,
Yeah,
what about misconceptions? What are some misconceptions? And you know what? What you really just said might have really been a misconception. But
yeah.
would you consider that the misconception that people have about raising in the winter, or maybe that it's hard? I feel like a lot of people are like, I don't want chickens because I
Yeah.
have to deal with that. So,
It's
what is your thought with that?
I think the misconception would be it's definitely different. I can't say like, "Oh my gosh, it's super hard." It's a learning experience. You have to be patient. You need to learn your weather.
Mhm.
We've this our theme today is everything changes. So,
Change,
um,
right?
but if you keep your flock, if you keep chicken math under control,
Mhm.
and you adapt your coop to make it easy for you, then I think raising chickens in the winter is fine. I mean, there's to me, it's an adventure. Like, yes,
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my goodness, it is, 10 degrees outside. But it's like once you get outside, it's almost like
Refreshing.
exhilarating.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Like it's cold. You feel
Yeah.
like you're like, yes, I can do this, and the snow's blowing and hit you in the face, but you got some eggs, and there's so much
Yeah.
satisfaction in that. And I think it's fun. I love where I live because just when I get annoyed with the seasons, it
Yes, it
changes.
changes. Mhm.
So I've grown to love every part of every season.
Uh,
Just as when it's 95, well, you get 100-degree, but
yeah.
just when it's 95 degrees and I'm sweating my butt off, I still love my birds, and
Yeah.
same in the winter time. So you just have to adapt and
And
try different things,
And
and
I think anyone that's even listening to this, watching this, is going to be like, yeah, I have that heart for the chickens. Like
yeah,
you have that animal husbandry where you love doing it, you have a passion for it.
right,
So sometimes you might not want to get out there, but you get
right.
out there and you're like, yes, these are my birds. I love
Yes,
it. Just
it
to sit and watching them eat, or just
yes,
anyway, pick through
exactly,
the snow
exactly.
or enjoy the snow. I think having the heart, yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
my next question was advice, and I feel like you have been giving great advice. So I feel like, do you have anything you want to add to that? Because your advice has been great with your chicken math and your just
Yeah,
getting the love and just getting out there. So
just have fun. And
have
and and
fun.
be willing to learn, and be
Yeah.
willing to, if your first plan doesn't work, it's okay. Try
Yes.
another plan. There were years we learned a lot about our waterers, and everybody's setup is a little bit different, but I would
Absolutely.
say that our biggest thing was waterers. Um,
What
about
works for
3
you?
years. Exactly. About
Yeah.
3 years ago, we saved up and got water in our barn that stays on all year round. Um,
Mm,
so there was no more sledding, water across the bar or across the yard
yes.
to fill the
Yeah.
waters. It's you learn. Be
You
willing to
learn.
learn. Don't get sad if your first plan doesn't work.
There's gonna be
Try
hiccups.
something else. Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, goes with that adventure and
Yeah.
all
I
that kind
know,
of good
right?
stuff.
It is. It is.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I love it. Okay, so here's my last question, or my last, yeah.
Yeah.
If your birds could talk, Jess, what would they say about winter?
I think they would say we love it because we get more treats.
There you go. Okay, okay. I like it. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
That's funny. Well, good.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys for sticking with us and
Yeah,
talking about winter and our flock. And we will see you next time on Chicken Chat.
absolutely. I think next time we talk, Megan, we're gonna have a battle.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna win. I'm just saying.
I don't know. We're gonna talk about this, but stay
Okay.
tuned for the next one. There's gonna be a bit of a battle in
It's
February.
gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
All right, thank you all for watching.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye.